All right, guys, get excited. It's Joey KO and Mixed Martial Mike. We want you to like, comment, and subscribe real quick before we get on, because we got this crazy fight right now coming up next. Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. And we diving into this discussion. As we all know, Dustin Poirier is getting his title defense against this man, the Bronze Oliveira. What do you feel about Charles Oliveira's chances?
Charles Oliveira has been in the UFC since he was 20 years old. Dustin Poirier came over extremely young, over from the WEC era even. So Dustin Poirier has an extensive career in multiple promotions, and Charles Oliveira is a well-known Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner and a black belt.
Yeah, I believe he has the most submissions in UFC history, if I'm not mistaken.
Especially in the modern era. I don't necessarily see top-level fighters practice as successfully as Charles Oliveira. You're not seeing the sophistication that Charles Oliveira is bringing to these fights. He's winning different submissions every fight. It's not like he's using a specialized move like Ronda Rousey was with the armbar, or like Khabib with the rear naked choke. He's coming in there with leg locks, knee bars, special twisters that you've never seen before, and you've seen him fully develop. And another huge context that we have to get to is, how did we get to this point now? The catalyst of this event was essentially Khabib's retirement.
But Oliveira was definitely on the roll. I believe he has 9 wins in a row. So this is a well-deserved champion. He earned it in my book. I'm not looking at him as a champion just because Khabib retired. Khabib, whatever it may be, he's done. He's gone, and we do have a deep division at 155. So no matter what, whoever earns this victory is going to be the real champion. I'm not looking at this as, you got to beat the champion to be the champion. If the champion is retired in Khabib, that's it. It's nothing nobody could do about it.
The way it's structured, the top 2 guys were able to fight. I know some people thought Justin Gaethje could have been one of the alternates of Michael Chandler and Oliveira, but either way, I do believe in what you were saying, that this is a legitimate, undisputed championship, although Khabib retired abruptly. Now we can get into the actual minutia of the fight, the actual dynamics. So what's going to happen? Dustin Poirier likes to throw that overhand left. He doesn't necessarily throw the cleanest punches. He throws clean boxing shots, but he does throw a lot of hooks, which I think can be a big problem. He throws wild
punches. He's not the sharpest boxer, but he does have sick knockout power. I think, when you look at it, he's probably the hardest puncher in the division right now, Dustin Poirier. Him and Gaethje, Gaethje might have something to say with that, but
right.
At the end of the day, I think he is one of the hardest punchers right now at 155. Oliveira, I think he does possess knockout power, but if he's going to get the job done, it's most likely going to be on the ground. He is the better ground specialist, and I favor Oliveira in this fight because I feel he has more tools to get the job done. They're both well-rounded, but I feel like Oliveira is the better overall well-rounded fighter.
Sometimes you have fighters like Khabib who are very, very dominant in one era of the game, and then very good, decent to very good in everything else. But Charles Oliveira is a guy who has better than above average. I want to say, let's just say he has above average striking now. When he started his career, there were certain fights that it looked like he quit. There's certain fights that he just couldn't overcome the power or the will of the event itself. Like he crumbled in the challenge of trying to go for either number 1 contender fights or championship level fights. And I think a huge thing we have to talk about is the fact that he overcame that in his championship win against Michael Chandler. It was looking just like every other bad night for him. And he was able to turn that around and really surprise the world in the way.
Well, remember, he gained a lot of experience. He did win 9 fights in a row, and like we said, he came to the UFC at a young age. He gained a lot of experience. Now, losing doesn't mean nothing when you're fighting at the highest level. If you was fighting against a bunch of bums and losing, that's one thing. When he came to the UFC, he came to the UFC as a future prospect, as someone who could be a future world champion. And they was right. Even through all those losses that he lost, he became better every time, and that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing a prime Charles Oliveira. He's 31 years old now.
To think he's been in the UFC 11 years, 10 to 11 years. To imagine that is pretty phenomenal.
This guy is now in his prime.
Absolutely.
And to say that you beat him before means nothing. Can you beat him now?
We got to take the Kanye and Kobe commercial. He's definitely
he's the
same beast, different animal. Yeah, for sure.
Or the same animal, but different beast.
He's a fucking monstruo.
When I look at it, right, I kind of want Dustin to win because it kind of, I know that most people want to see Dustin win. Dustin is the bigger name at this point. And of course, if he wins the title, that just sets up for that fourth fight. Obviously, if your man Charles Oliveira wins, it's going to be rough for that McGregor-Dustin fight to really be what it needs to be.
Actually, no, I would argue it would probably make even more sense to Conor to fight Dustin coming off of a loss, because then they will both be coming off of a loss. So even if I'm a Conor McGregor fan, I'm a huge fanatic of Conor, I'm not going to undermine what Dustin has done. I love his career too. As a person, he's awesome.
Dustin did win the interim title.
And he did beat it off he beat it off of a current champion as well, which is kind of odd. He didn't beat the champion, but he beat a current champion in a division right below that he used to fight in. So it all fit. It's one of the best interim title championships ever. Like it's as close to a championship, undisputed. Well, that's what it is. The UFC only has an undisputed champion. This fight is incredible for many different reasons. The matchup, the ramifications with Conor, the ramifications of Dustin becoming a full-born champion for the first time. Man, and 155, come on. We could just pick. Let's put the names in a hat. Yeah, put the names in a hat and just pick, and that's an amazing fight.
And now you got Islam Makhachev.
And he got knocked out by Kevin Lee, so it's not like he's like Khabib. He's not invincible, but people do level up. Now he's under the tutelage of Khabib, and Khabib is 5-0 as a coach. So, hey, I'm not here to argue that Khabib can't teach what he did. Maybe he can. I honestly believe Dustin Poirier is going to prove to be the stronger fighter, especially at 155. I feel like he's a real 155er. Like he could make 160 comfortably with muscle and all that. Remember that the fighting game is so weird. It's like a multiverse in the fight game. You don't know what could happen. It's a series of events. And if the series of events would have went differently, we don't know what the second round would have been with Conor. But we did see a second round with Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Look what happened, a complete switcheroo. So MMA is that type of weird, but I would not be shocked at all if Charles Oliveira won, but that's a cop-out. My official prediction, you can hold me accountable, is Dustin Poirier.
I got Charles Oliveira because, like I said, I think he has more ways to win. He has more tools, but I wouldn't be surprised if, Poirier gets it done on the feet. But it's a tough one, but I'm going with Charles Oliveira. You're going with Poirier because you want to see that fight happen with McGregor.
No, but even eliminating that, I believe Dustin Poirier is just going to be a tough matchup. He's a southpaw. We didn't talk about that. This guy fights he fights in an upward stance, which I think is tailor-made for a guy like Dustin at 155. He doesn't throw the Chuck Liddell overhand equivalent, but he throws a pretty kind of swervy version of that. Like he throws
That's interesting that you say that, yeah.
He kind of throws like a curve version of what Chuck Liddell does, but he Chuck Liddell was way more obvious that he's gonna go with the overhand, where Dustin kind of got like an in-between hook overhand concoction that will work against a guy who's fighting more upright. And Charles Oliveira kind of got that Cowboy Cerrone syndrome in him, where he just naturally feels comfortable. Like when he's in a comfortable state, subconsciously,
he fights tall.
That's how he gets. That's how he fights. And if that's your natural instinct, I think he really got to fix that if he wants to be able to beat Dustin. But he can. He absolutely can. But Dustin's going to win this fight. And that's what I truly, truly believe. It's not just because I want it. If it was just what I want, Conor would have knocked him out with a broken leg. But that's not what happened. Conor would have ripped his leg off and rocked Dustin with the leg off. And then use it as a mic.
No matter what happens, right? I think Oliveira's going to win this fight. Dustin's going to fight McGregor next year. And then McGregor's going to lose again. He's going to rant off on the video. They're going to fight for the 5th and 6th time. And Poirier is going to keep whooping his ass. I just put titanium in my bone. Let's see if you can break something now, Dustin. So, man, give us your take, man, on this fight. Who you think is going to win this fight, Oliveira or Poirier? Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out, y'all.